Let's give it a stretch, and hopefully we should probably do some more missions here and there. Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Pac-Man here, and I am Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and me, Mighty the Armadillo here, and welcome back for more of the Films of the Maxi Toys videos as always. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of The Simpsons Hit and Run for the Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PC. So, last time we've essentially managed to able to get started with the Forms of in level 2 by going through several missions and also certain collectibles here and now to able to collect. So today, for this video, is the fact that we might able to actually conclude, sorry for a little bit of a tongue twist in the end folks, we're about to conclude the rest of the Forms of the Story missions from the likes of in level 2. So in this case though, let's go and talk to Professor Frank here so we can get this started.
I gotta play Bone Storm 2. Give me one!
No can do, my pointy-headed friend. I need the power of video game violence to run my latest invention / monster. If you find me a World War II communication radio and a satellite, then my creation will live and we can play with it and enjoy the frolicking.
Oh, cool. Real violence is way better than TV violence. It's like a level boss come to life. Now, who would have a World War II radio? That guy that sells all those grenades to Nelson might. I better check.
Okay, so the next mission we're about to be hit on to is the fact that we need to collect that particular, well, let's just say the World War II radio for Professor Frank. So in this case, they'll need to go into a specific location, and somehow, much like the forms of how it does it on level 1, we need to be able to keep up with the forms of that particular fan. To be more specifically, it's the exact same fan as before. Yeah, except a noticeable difference is this time is the fact that, well, it takes place in a different location. So yeah, we'll just go after him fast, and then hopefully we're not able to lose track of ourselves to able to actually just to, well, you know what I mean. Especially noticeable since we actually take a shortcut. So yeah, a few things we want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that today's day is of course the 10th of May today, in this case in 2022 today. I think something we're able to actually just make it happen for the sake of the forms of by the end of this particular, well, let's just say, unfortunately though, it's going to take place on unlucky 13th day, specifically Friday the 13th, but let's not get ahead of ourselves until specifically if we dare come across into some unlucky moments during the course of throughout the majority of this week, that we'll pretty much have to save that conversation until for later. So right off the bat, I can see the wasp camera in here, so that way I can able to actually instantly manage to able to destroy it. So darn it, that ramp is gonna get on my nerves, but thankfully though, at the very least we're not losing track of ourselves for that particular van and stuff like that, because as far as I'm aware, I can assure you it might actually be something to do with the fact that maybe, just maybe, that he obviously got stuck in traffic, I could assure you for this point. So anyway, so now let's go and move on to the next part right here. So, yeah, I can't able to look on a progression here.
Hey, Springfield's lamest. What's the deal?
Didn't you hear? Herman's been robbed. Hey, you don't know who did it, do you? Because if you did, boy, that would be great.
Oh, no. Now where am I going to get a radio?
These fresh skid marks leading away from the scene of the crime could be a clue. But who's to say, really?
Okay, so now we need to look for the thief, which does manage to take place in there. So obviously we need to get back onto the vehicle, of course. So from here, we need able to find a specific familiar profile of this image. So turns out it was actually going to be Snake himself. So, and in fact, if we manage able to go for this little corners here, then we meet up with Snake right there. And I get the feeling we're going to have to race against with him.
Hey, Snake, what's up?
Do I know you, little dude?
I need that radio you borrowed.
No way, little dude. This radio is going to help me score beaucoup de chicks.
Last time I checked, chicks like fast cars, not vintage electronics. Why don't we race for the radio?
Oh, I totally agree to your proposal.
Yep, so we do need to race against with him. So in this case, we need to able to hit onto the stadium. So, yeah, because as a result though, then we can probably expect that we will able to actually, well, do some careful driving alongside with the forms to try to avoid as many of those traffic as we possibly could. So you get the idea about the forms of how this mission's structured. So But anyway though, since that about the fact that I think we've only just managed able to realize about the fact that, as we mentioned this before, that unfortunately though for... Oh god, I totally forgot about that particular blocked road segment. Okay, hopefully I still got some time to able to actually just to beat him up, or specifically just beat him in a race, not so much like beating up certain characters and stuff like that, unlike Grand Theft Auto. Then basically they can able to actually beat up the forms of NPCs and stuff like that with all weapons and all that stuff. But regardless of such though, I think you are basically getting close to the finish line. So, yep, I completed it. So now we can able to actually get the actual radio right here. So how's that for that? Especially noticeable, now we can able to actually hit on to the next mission, which does mostly takes place in Krusty Burger. Once again. Yeah, except this time we're going to be able to take control of Bart Simpson as opposed to Homer Simpson. So, yeah, you pretty much expect how this is going to turn out, so... And fundamentally speaking though, is the fact that whenever we get to the continuation of this game, I'm pretty sure that from what I've read on the description or something like that, when it comes to the actual game itself, I'm pretty sure you play as 5 characters, although we're probably not going to mention more details about that just yet though, because, well, then again though, you know what I mean.
Hey there, Mr. Slack-jawed Yokel.
That be I.
Can I borrow your satellite dish?
Sure, if you help me scoop up my flat meat, sophisticated city youngster. Those darn revenuers don't like me selling roadkill.
Alright, so the next mission we need to do is the fact that we need to collect the flat meat before the time runs out, and every once in a while we need to avoid Apu throughout the majority of this mission. So, yeah, because as a result though, there are 14 to collect, so thankfully it won't be too far, I can imagine, about that, especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking though, it's just the fact that, well, it's hard to explain because it's been about a couple of hours ago since we actually last played this, since about a day ago. Mainly because, well, as we probably already said this before, not only do we able to actually get our spare time to play other games and stuff like that, but also about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that we've been very busy lately when it comes to the forms of the majority of summer. So because of this though, well, not necessarily summer yet though. Oh jeez Louise, that was actually pretty close, I'm not gonna lie. So in this case, no! Ah, no! Ah, got stuck! Come on! Get out! Get out! Okay. Whew! That's pretty close, because I obviously am almost gonna get stuck. But luckily though, they somehow managed able to move just in time, so... Yeah, because gotta think about it, if you get screwed over just like that, with all that physics and all that jazz, then I think you might be able to restart this entire collectathon again, so... Yeah, that won't be that fun if you somehow messed it up, so... Anyway, so now we've actually collected the, you know, the actual collectibles here. So now we need to able to head back on to Krusty Burger, and we get the feeling there might be a bit of a chase sequence, or to be more specifically, a getaway segment coming up. Because obviously, that, as far as you already know, that we need to get away from Apu if we somehow manage to able to go to, you know, the Krusty Burger restaurant. So we can pretty much expect how this is going. So anyway, so yeah, there's going to be some upcoming news for the sake of the forms of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl game as far as the forms of the next update goes, because as far as I'm aware, I think, fundamentally speaking, they were able to actually reveal a new character or something like that, which we'll probably figure that out whenever we do manage to find out, until specifically maybe next weekend, or specifically let's just say during the course of, well, you know what I mean, when it comes to, this coming Friday with that unlucky 13th day. So, yeah, it could be, underwhelming, I guess, but it's just the fact that it's just one of those things about the fact that we always have to stick around with, oh jeez, we're almost gonna get into the hit and run mode. Oh god, get out of my way, Apu, get out of my way. This isn't good. This isn't good at all because obviously that's... Oh, Jesus Louise. Hopefully we'll try to able to escape from this point.
You got real pretty acceleration. Oh, I could have made a good step.
I think we lost him, so that's kind of a good thing. Although it doesn't help that. Darn it! I lost 50 coins off that.
Eat my dust,
That's not good. Especially noticeable because I was expecting that I could possibly be able to save up for the later portion, but I just got screwed.
Krusty Burgers are made of roadkill? That explains the tire tracks.
Take this satellite dish as a reward. She gets 14 channels, including the Outhouse channel. Man, I love watching that.
Thanks, inbred hillbilly.
Torrent nothing.
Okay, so now let's go ahead and collect the actual satellite dish. I think that's what it's called anyway. So now we can able to head back into the stadium again and able to talk to Professor Frank again. So that way we can able to do another objective. So yeah, we'll just try to find a vehicle for a second there. So in this case, let's see how far I'm in. 53.7%. So getting close though, especially noticeable because I believe we're now on the 6th mission. So yeah, it feels like we're almost done with the those mission stories. So, or the story missions rather, whatever I was trying to be more precise with. So, oh jeez, it looks like this particular car is going to get a massive amount of damage. So, in some cases though, if we did touch any of the vehicles, to be more specifically like this one right here, the character automatically just jumps out of the default of the vehicle. And despite the fact that we lost a bit of some coins, but at the very least, there is actually an option you can able to actually repair them. So, for example, if we manage to able to... Oh, sweet, we can able to get some more coins there too. So, now we're back on 98 again. So, yeah, as you can see right there, that it does say cost to fix. So, potentially speaking, it costs about 10 coins if you manage to able to repair your vehicle. So, yeah, after when it's specifically damaged. So, I guess that's cool, I suppose, especially noticeable because... well, relatively speaking though, you do need vehicles for the majority of the forms of every other missions throughout the game, so to be expected for the most part. So anyway, so now we actually just bump into Professor Frank again. So but first things first though, let me just
You expect me to complete a Mark 10 Truckosaurus without a blender? Why don't I just make a plasmoclave without a tennis racket for playing out loud? Now fetch me a blender with the puree and the frappe and the liquefy.
Now where am I gonna get a blender? Dr. Nick! He loves blended girl drinks during surgery.
okay, so the next mission we need to hop into is to drive into the Screaming Monkey facility or something like that. So yeah, I have no idea why I say the actual first things first though for some reason, because I somehow managed able to activate that mission instantly. So because of that though, I just have no idea why I said that. Well, aside from the fact that you already mentioned about something, so...
You seem like a heavy drinker. Do you have a blender?
Not now, okay? My monkeys have escaped. Can you catch them for me? I'll be so grateful.
Why won't they come back to you?
Because I have tortured them horribly, silly.
There's no way I'll be able to fit all those monkeys in my car. I better get a big truck or something.
And as you can see, just like the forms of how it does it on level 1, we need to get something specifically big, to be more specifically the Mr. Plow Truck. So in this case, we need to find Homer Simpson, as you can tell. But here's the thing though, I need to grind for more coins. So here's the problem though, is the fact that, since that we're a little bit further away, for the sake of the forms of trying to able to get that particular vehicle in mind, so, and thus I'm usually off by 106 coins, but hopefully we'll able to actually guarantee to get more, and during specifically later on throughout the majority of the game, so we can pretty much expect about the fact that there's going to be a lot of emphasis on coin grinding, so yeah, to be expected at this point. So oh, and also another thing we'd like to discuss upon is the fact that, relatively speaking, actually, to be honest with you, there's not much else we can talk about. Although, apart from the fact that you noticed about the fact that since during the course of in the past few days ago, that it's pretty obvious that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness just recently came out on a big screen. And for we've seen the reviews, well, then again, we're not going to mention any spoilers because obviously it's the most recent film, like we said this so many times already. Somehow in Rotten Tomatoes, they seemed able to actually, well, critics-wise, they've somehow managed to give the film like 75%, I was expecting to able to go a bit higher, but regardless of everything else though, that's to be expected with most critics' reviews, I suppose. As far as audios, of the audience review scores so far anyway, is that they did surprisingly well for the audience reviews, such as for instance with 88% so far. So as a result though, that we still enjoy the film, but usually relatively speaking now, that's as far as we can able to try to explain about the forms of, you know what I mean with that particular portions all by itself, So anyway, another thing we totally forgot to mention about ever since during the course of in yesterday's video, that recently that the new event is about to be coming, to be more specifically the 9th of June. This what it appears to be, it turns out it's gonna be the Summer Game Fest.
The DMV has us all doing these stupid races. This state should get some child labor laws.
Although, for some reason, I accidentally managed to activate the forms of that particular race, but that's okay though, because it'll just give me some spare time until I decide able to grind for more coins as much as I can. But, if you somehow actually accidentally manage to able to activate the forms of those, one of those, bonus missions, or in some cases the street races, basically what happens is though, is the fact that if you're currently in your progressioning for one of those missions in general, basically you lost your progression, and as a result though, you have to start all the way back to square one in certain tasks for some of these missions. So, but that's okay though, because relatively speaking like I said before, my main goal for the next portion of the mission is that I'm gonna have to grind as many of those coins as I can. To be more specifically, I need to reach for about 200, which that way it allows me to able to buy the next vehicle, which is of course Mr. Plow, which actually represents in one of those episodes in, well, Mr. Plow, where basically Homer becomes, you know, Mr. Plow. So, along with the forms of how the fact that, you know, that he always wears Marge's favorite jacket. So, yeah, that pretty much expect how that's gonna turn out, I guess. So, despite the fact that we haven't watched that episode for a while, so... Anyway, so I think mission is pretty much done. So, yeah, pretty easy and pretty swell.
Next time you stay at our place, you can have the steamed vegetable of your choice.
Well, thanks, ma'am. So, anyway, so yeah, with the forms of that particular upcoming event, yeah, as you can see, that since we are on the middle portion of that particular mission where it involves around, you know, talking to Homer and spend 200 coins to able to actually get Mr. Plow Truck, then as you can tell, we're now back at square one in terms of the forms of this mission, so... But that's okay, because traveling to this particular point wasn't too far, I don't think. So, regardless of such though, that it might actually give us some bit of spare time to hopefully try to grind for more coins. But be very careful though, because you don't able to actually get busted, because if you get busted though, basically you lose 50 coins, so we have to be very careful about that. Especially notable, it does remind me of the similar concept as the forms of how it does it on, let's just say in Super Mario Odyssey, that if you die, then basically you lose 10 coins, and then in Bowser's Fury, in Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury on the Switch, basically though it's the fact that you lose 50 coins if you die in Bowser's Fury, and as far as Kirby and the Forgotten Land goes, I believe you lost about 100 star coins, which is a bit, much, but regardless of such though, much like the forms of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, it's important to note that if you really want to 100% everything in the game, basically though is the fact that we're gonna have to able to grind as many of those star coins in certain hidden locations and all that jazz, but regardless of such though, that basically explains that, so... So as you can tell, since that we actually already skipped the actual dialogue between the forms of Bart Simpson and Professor Frank already, well that's only mainly because since that we've technically already heard that the dialogue before, so in this case there was actually an option for you to able to actually skip that particular dialogue. So anyways, let's talk to Dr. Nick again, despite the fact that we've already heard about that particular dialogue. So yeah, let's just go ahead and try to able to grind as many of those coins again, but hopefully we can able to actually find Homer Simpson until we able to actually just to find, well, you know, just try to buy the Mr. Plow Truck. So, now I think the best way to do this though is the fact that, well, you probably already know is the fact that you don't able to destroy these box that does manage to contain coins with. So Because obviously 2 hits will be enough, because as far as the 3rd hit goes, then obviously it will not work that very well, because obviously it'll just demolish just everything. So excuse me, I've got something on my throat there, I do apologize for that. So yeah, regardless of everything else though, is the fact that we got ourselves the upcoming event later on. To be more specifically, it takes place on the 9th of June, like I said before, which appears to be buddy forms of the Summer Game Fest, which is going to be take place in the 9th of June. And also on top of all that stuff though, we might, just maybe, we can probably able to expect, mind you, it's going to be a rumor, so it could be a grain of salt, and especially noticeable it's like a leak or rumor for that matter, that apparently though we might able to also get ourselves our first glimpse of the forms of that particular gameplay trailer for Sonic Frontiers coming up. But then again though, it's just a rumor, so grain of salt will able to get raised and all that stuff. But regardless of such though, we'll just have to wait and see what happens during that specific day. So, but you know, we'll just have to wait. So, but unfortunately though, is the fact that like in any other days ago, is the fact that unfortunately though, our commentary feels a little bit too drab for the most part for this point today, because it's pretty obvious because of you know, Ray just called it croaky throat.
Why should I give you that?
Because I love you.
Pay up, sucker.
You're charging your own son?
Yeah, I guess I am.
So now we can able to actually buy the Mr. Plow Trucks. In this case, we are about to be able to get started with the next segment of the forms of this entire mission. So in this case, as soon as we're able to actually hop into the Mr. Plow Truck, then we can able to realize that we're about to get started by, what else? Collecting some more stuff. But this time we're about to collect 30 of those monkeys, as you can see. So relatively speaking though, we can able to actually just to drive around the entirety of this area, so we can able to expect how this is going to turn out. But here's the thing though, we need to do it for a certain time limit, so because of that though, yeah, we need to be fast on this point. But luckily though, we got plenty of time in order to able to actually just to find, you know, every single monkeys throughout. But relatively speaking though, you still need to be fast for the most part. Well, for the most part you say. Well, here's the thing though, mighty, is the fact that I still need to be very careful of not to able to activate the forms of that, well, the hit and run kind of situation. But regardless of such though, well, you know, you get the idea about that. So yeah, I'm sorry, I just need able to concentrate here because, well, I just need able to do a bit of a steady driving right here. Especially noticeable, it doesn't help that our recording session preview just once again lags, because I just have no idea why, it just keeps on lagging all the time. And let's just hope that we won't be having the exact same issue from the likes of the folks in the conclusion to level 1 part, because obviously our commentary is a bit out of sync. But I know exactly what you mean, because obviously that it just completely ruins the experience sometimes when it comes to likely doing, you know, more commentaries alike. But regardless of everything else though, I think that's as far as we can able to try and describe about this for this point. So yeah, anyway though, aside from that though, I think that's as far as we can say about the forms of this discussion today. Although we were expecting that we will try to able to mention something new for the sake of the forms of tomorrow, or the next day, or potentially the unlucky 13th day. But I'm sure that exponentially speaking, that Maxi will still be back on to you know, Mario Party 8 during that specific time. So. And of course, that's you probably already noticed that we actually did collect ourselves the collector card, along with the forms of trying to destroy another one of those wasp cameras here and there. So, potentially speaking though, I think you pretty much at the almost to the point that you've almost got into the 100% completion, I guess. Well, mind you though, Pac-Man, is the fact that I've somehow managed able to got distracted for a little bit, to be more specifically with that particular street race. Although, mind you, I was expecting if I was trying to save that street race until for later, but I somehow accidentally did one of them during the course of the forms of in the middle of those story missions, to able to give you guys an example that if you accidentally manage to, again, if you accidentally activate the forms of that particular street race, while at the same time, while doing one of those story-based missions, then obviously that you'd be back in square one again. So anyway, so now let's go ahead and find Dr. Nick again, so we can able to expect that we're able to actually get one of those collectibles, and exponentially that we're basically done with mission 6 in terms of story missions and all that stuff. So yeah, let's go and talk to him now.
Welcome home, Daddy's little angels. Now, to put electrodes in your brains.
So in this case, we got ourselves the blender. So let's go and collect that quickly, despite the camera just gets a bit freaked out almost. So now we're done with that, and now let's go ahead and head back onto the stadium again. And I can assure to you we can able to talk to Professor Frank again. So just in case we can able to actually just to conclude the story missions from level 2. Mind you though, is the fact that obviously that we pretty much still not going to be able to try to can I think about it though, I think we should probably save that particular the race challenge until for later, just in case that we're not going to lose track of ourselves to, well, you know what I mean, to able to actually just to conclude the rest of it though, I guess. So anyways, here's Professor Frank here. So before we do anything else, then we just destroyed those specific vending machines. Mind you, we didn't collect that many.
Here's your last doodad. So can I see the Truckosaurus thing?
Yes. Here's a word I would love to be able to say. Unfortunately, there are too many people using cell phones, and the interference would then cause the monster to malfunction and kill many people. And my insurance is already sky high with the premiums and the schmemiums.
Okay, so now it looks like we now need to able to destroy all these cell phone vehicles as far as whatever we get into the later portion of this. So yeah, we're about able to go after one right now. So in this case, there's one of them over there. So I believe you can have able to destroy about 5 of these things. So, and in this case though, we need to do a lot of destruction, so we can able to expect that we will do kind of like the exact same technique as in certain Burnout games. Mind you that this game came out before Burnout 3 Takedown, alongside with Burnout Revenge and Burnout Dominator for the PS2 and PSP. That obviously if you drove straight into one of those vehicles, specifically these types of cars, where you have to deal with the amount of damage to it. So potentially speaking though, because relatively speaking, if you pretty much done with one of those cars, then basically we can move on to the next car to destroy. So yeah, you pretty much expect how this is going. So in this case, you've pretty much done one. So now you need to move on to the next one. So, oh snap! We did manage to deal with a half damage from that particular car right there. So that's actually pretty swell, I have to say. Although, mind you, about the fact that, kind of thinking about it though, is that these types of missions does feel a bit slightly similar to me though, as in one of those missions for the sake of Sonic 06, where basically it's the fact that you have to able to damage one of the cars. Like, I think you're able to actually play as Sonic for one of those tail missions that you can have to able to deal with the forms of trying to damage the actual red car before the mission is over, I guess. So, mind you though, it has been a very long while since I actually last played Sonic 06 on, not only on the Xbox 360, but also the PlayStation 3 version, despite that we have to restart the whole entire everything for, well, let's say the PS3 version, because, well, somehow we got screwed over by the forms of several amount of settings. Like, you know, between the forms of the Wii back in the day, as far as what, excuse me, I'm really sorry about this point, guys, but, relatively speaking, I've heard that, Sonic did actually tell me, during that time, where basically, some Toys House has somehow accidentally managed to able to mess around with the settings on, the Wii, and as a result, that we actually lost everything for its, files and all the other jazz. But, relatively speaking, though, we actually getting pretty screwed when it comes to the forms of certain, game consoles every now and then for its save data progressions and all that stuff, especially noticeable if you manage to spend a very long time for, you know what I mean, when it comes to forms of trying to do some grinding and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah, baby, bring it
and there we go, we pretty much done another one, so we can move on to, I would say, the 4th one next. So yeah, you get the idea about that. And it looks like I'm doing slightly okay, I guess, despite the fact that unlike the other 3 user sell cars that basically I did manage to able to instantly manage to gut them with a half unit of health. So, but I get the feeling I don't think I could probably do that for the sake of, well, this time around, I guess. So, again, we do apologize if our commentary is a little bit meh for the most part, but it's just the fact that there's not much else we can talk about because, well, aside from the fact that you probably already know that obviously every now and then for this week, along with next week as well, except in 2 weeks later because, well, aside from the fact that hopefully Maxie will be able to go back onto Kirby in the Forgotten Land until he decided able to finish that game, just before he'll able to actually just to tackle through, well, other Kirby games in the future, to be more specifically Kirby Star Allies or any games for that matter, like based off from spin-off titles or something like that. So yeah, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens there during the you know, later portions of the year, I guess, but still.
My dad'll pay for all the damages.
Oh my god, these too many vehicles, especially noticeable if some pedestrians are just like kind of all over the place around here, and especially noticeable it doesn't help that the hit and run meter is almost gonna full up, so as a result you will lose, you know, 50 coins if you manage to able to get busted, so we need to be very cautious. Yeah, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, relatively speaking most of the time that you will able to get messed up with, like, getting stuck on certain places like you just did right there, Ray. Yeah, I thought so, because obviously it'll just let me respawn back onto the forms of, no matter what though, never mind. So yeah, I just have no idea why, that's, relatively speaking, there's not much else I can talk about, so yeah, but then again though, hopefully Junior forms up in the next day. Oh Jesus Louise, we got hit and run, so I think we're pretty much guaranteed to lose, yeah, 50 coins again. Dang it. Actually, gotta think about it, I think you have to destroy about 4 of them, at least as far as I can recall correctly, so I think I accidentally miscount on it, but hopefully though, we've pretty much done with the forms of, well, level 2 right now, so, and as you can tell, we now need to able to head back into the stadium for the final time, and because of that, we need to find Professor Frank again, so, it's actually not too far from here, I don't think, so, yeah, it's gonna have to avoid a lot of traffic here, and, yeah, we can now able to talk to Professor Frank, and we're basically done with level 2.
Well done, my little sociopath.
I like to smash.
Now there is no chance my Truckosaurus will go on a killing rampage with the screaming and the sadness and the hosing of blood off the robot.
Wow, Truckosaurus is some kind of truck/dinosaur. I never would have guessed. Uh-oh. Yes! Everybody do the Bartman!
Oh jeez, what happened there? I'm guessing he's been abducted by, I would say an aliens, I saw something like that? But it doesn't matter though, because we're about to end things off at this point right here, so join us next time for more of Let's Play of The Simpsons Hit and Run. It's the fact that we'll hopefully try to grab the rest of these collectibles in level 2, so hopefully we're able to 100% level 2 in the process. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, later fellas. See you dudes then.